Hey guys, John here at Shadow Foam, and this week I've got my hands on the brand new DeWalt DXL Toughsystem. This is part of DeWalt's Toughsystem range, and I can tell you already, it's probably one of my favourite toolboxes ever. I love it. It's got a lot going for it, this. Some hidden features I didn't realise it even had until I got my hands on it. And in this video, I'm going to be talking you through all my favourite features, my top 5 good things, as well as a couple of niggles, along with the Shadow Foam ability. These drawers we already have inserts available for, and we're going to be showing you how much stuff you can fit in this setup. So first things first though, this toolbox is pretty much sold out everywhere at the minute. You can still get a few of the pieces online if you look hard enough, but let me show you how I got my hands on one. Today is the day I get my hands on the DeWalt DXL Toughsystem. I've got one reserved at CTS Ironmongery in Halifax. I'm here to pick it up. Let's go and get it. So I've not actually been to CTS Ironmongery before, but I did see them at the Bolton Tool Fair. They were running the DeWalt stand because the vendors, the big power tool brands themselves, they can't run the stands. They have to have one of their retailers kind of operating it and taking the payments. But the store is pretty jam-packed. They've got all sorts here, and it's not just DeWalt. They've got Makita, Trend. As you can see, I've walked in the door and they've got hand tools straight away. So can't help myself. I'm gonna have a look around, see what I can find, and hopefully we'll find the DXL system. So I think this is probably the biggest range of DeWalt stuff I've seen on display in a shop in the UK. I don't go to every tool shop, but this has got a pretty good range. We've already got a DeWalt Power Tool wall, so I do recognise some of these bits. They've got the old heat gun. Got one of those. It's nice to see prices on everything. You don't often see that. Some of these places you're looking around, you're thinking, oh, I wonder what that is. And look at this thing. This is massive. Big old beastie, 1/2 inch DeWalt driver. You've got the price at 195 quid. Pretty good, isn't it? It's nice to see prices on stuff. I like it. And here we go, this is the first look. They've got one on display. Didn't know if they'd have one on display, to be fair, but look, it's a pretty beastie thing. Feels really solid already. Drawers clip into place, and they've got the seal on the front. So if you've used the Toughsystem before, you'll know that the drawers are one of the only drawers on the market, if not the only drawer, tell me if I'm wrong, that have a seal around the front of the drawer. I mean, the full set actually is another deep drawer, so I think that's what I'll go for, the standard kind of full stack, which brings it up a bit higher. But as you can see, these drawers, look at that, that's a lot of space for a lot of tools. And that's, you know, being deep, you can have power tools in it, and then these shallower drawers can have loads of hand tools, loads of real estate. And they come right out too, you can access all the way to the back, which is pretty unusual. I kind of expected it to come out and then block off like 100mm at the back, but it doesn't. Looking mint, and it's got these rails on the side too, like nice mounting rails for stuff. That is great. Right, let's go and get one. And they've actually got Toughsystem as well. All of the original boxes. Now I've got this one, the 2 drawer, and you can kind of see what I mean here about having the seal. On these drawers, the seal is just in there, and when you close the drawer, it is sealed. I don't have this one though, the 3 drawer, and if you didn't know, the DXL system is compatible with all of these Toughsystem boxes, so you can stack these on like sideways. I've only got 1 drawer, so I think it would be good to pick one of these up, and that way we can do a proper test and see how this kind of is compatible together. And if I've got 2, I can have them side by side, so I think I'll take one of those as well. Right, Harry. I believe you've got the DXL box in the back for me. Yeah. And I'm going to go for the 3 drawer box, and then this is the connector plate in it.
Yeah, the adapter, so you clip it on your Toughsystem box and you can clip your T-stack on top.
And then that'll connect to DXL as well,
yes.
Yeah? Brilliant. So that's the stuff. If I'm buying the DXL, that's probably over 1,000 quid's worth of toolbox there, isn't there?
There's a fair bit.
Can you chuck me any freebies? And you've seen the videos, haven't you? So we do 5 giveaway bundles pretty much.
Well, I've got you 5 bit sets here to give away.
That is very kind of you.
And I've also got some nice T-shirts for you as well.
Yeah, DeWalt T-shirts. You saw us coming.
Yeah.
He did have prior warning. He knew we were coming. 5 DeWalt T-shirts. We didn't know already, DeWalt celebrating their 100-year anniversary. So it's a pretty limited edition DeWalt 100-year T-shirt and a bit set and some pencils, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, and some pencils.
And some pencils,
taking everything.
So we're taking everything. So you know what to do. If you want one of those, drop a comment down below. Let us know. Are you looking out for a DeWalt DXL? It looks like a pretty good system to me on first glance, but let's get all this in the van, get it back to workshop and have a proper look. Right, so all sorted, back from CTS. Great bunch of guys they are. And obviously they knew we were coming, so I'd arranged to get the toolbox from them, and they knew about the 5 giveaways. They knew about the little swag piles we do. So they really did look after us. Not only did they give us the box of like 5 of these kits, so these are compatible with T-stack, and these can like connect to all the other DeWalt boxes, but we've got one of these bit sets each for our little giveaway bundle. They also gave us the T-shirts, as you saw in the store. So we've got 5 of these. And they've got like this DeWalt 100-year badge, which is pretty cool. And we've got a mixture of sizes, so you can let us know when we draw your prize and we get in touch with you. You can choose what size you want. So we've got 5 t-shirts. And it didn't stop there, because I did grab a handful of pencils, and it wasn't just a random handful, it was 10. So they are DeWalt Carpenter's pencils, and we've got 10 of them. So that's 2 in each little bundle, and it's not finished yet, because just as we were leaving, Harry said, CTS tape measures. Nice quality, 8-metre tape measure. The only thing with the CTS logo on, I thought, definitely got to include that. So thank you very much for the lads over there for sorting us out, and we have got 5, let me just check. Boom, so there we go. What a little giveaway bundle that is. So if you want a bit kit, tape measure, pencil, t-shirt, just drop a comment. It's as simple as that. We do giveaways all the time on this channel. There's loads active. So if you don't just want to win this lot, go back and watch our other videos. Get involved in the conversations below the videos, all about tools. What are your thoughts on the DeWalt DXL system? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and that's all you've got to do, and you'll be entered to win. And we do the draw in these very videos in the next couple of weeks. So all that being said, let's get into it. So I didn't just pick up the DXL box, I also got 3-drawer Toughsystem, and that's because one of the big features of this system, it can connect with everything you've already got from the DeWalt range. But let's clear all this out of the way and let me talk you through my top 5 features in order, starting with number 5. So number 5 on my list of key features is the compatibility that this DXL system has. Now you might already be aware that it's a Toughsystem 2 box. Even though it's called the DXL, it's part of the Toughsystem 2 range. But what does that mean? Well, essentially it means that the latches that this box has are the exact same as the latches the Toughsystem has. They are slightly different. You've got the same spring latch on the front, and then you've got like a fixed latch on the back here, which I really like. It just means you can just slide that one into the back and then click it down. So it's a little bit easier rather than trying to click it on both sides. Now I did get a Toughsystem 3-drawer from CTS, purely because I already had the 2-drawer. And by putting that on there, you can see how it works. You've got a nice flush flat platform. You've kind of got this gap down the middle, so you can see that the DXL isn't quite double the width of the Toughsystem. It's double and a bit more. It's like 120% or something. And then this top will fix on there as well. So that just clicks in there. So the worktop can click onto 2 Toughsystem boxes, normal ones, or the actual DXL box. So that's the first level of compatibility, I'd say. But that's kind of the obvious level. But I'll remove this and I'll show you the next level essentially, which is kind of one of the reasons why I've always liked the Toughsystem range, and that is because they're always backwards compatible. There's a temptation with a lot of brands to kind of like say, oh, you know, yesterday's history and forget it. However, Toughsystem always think about their previous generation stuff. So it starts with Toughsystem 1. So if you didn't know, Toughsystem 1 was the exact same size, but the Toughsystem 2 had a few upgrades. Now, the Toughsystem 1 box, slots on here, the exact same, and it clicks in place. And the Toughsystem 1 box has not got a spring latch, it's got like a push into place latch. But there's loads of these about, and they're still available all the time on Facebook. You get like deals where you'll buy a drill and some batteries, and it comes with one of these. So the fact that it still integrates is a bonus. And if you didn't know, Stanley Black & Decker own DeWalt, and they own lots of other companies. And the other companies they own end up with the same boxes. So a good example here is Facom. Do you notice anything about this Facom box? Well, it's a Toughsystem 1 box, and it integrates the exact same. So if for some reason you've ended up with Facom boxes, they integrate just the same. And they have their own version of drawers, which is the exact same, rebranded essentially. So that, I would say, is the second level of compatibility. So not only do the Toughsystem 2 boxes integrate, the Toughsystem 1 boxes integrate too. And that can be the DeWalt brand or the Facom brand or any other brands, because I may not have them all. Let me know in the comments if there's another brand that's compatible with this, but I'm pretty sure I've got all bases covered. But on top of that, they also have this adapter plate. Now this adapter plate was 25 quid, and essentially it clicks on here and it makes this system, or any Toughsystem box for that matter, because this plate will clip on the top, and there you go, it's fixed. And essentially what that then does is makes this compatible with all of your T-stack boxes. So here we go, we've got a T-stack crate here, and that'll literally fix on top. If you're taking this and you want to stack it really high, because it is great to load up because it's got such a high payload, you can get all your T-stack boxes on there, which then means not only do your T-stack boxes fit, but also all your Stanley Pro Stack boxes fit. So some people know this and some people don't. So this is a normal DeWalt T-stack box, and they've also got T-stack 2 now, which also, this all applies. It doesn't matter if you've got first generation T-stack, second generation T-stack, if you've got Toughsystem 1 or 2, it all integrates. For me, that's a big relief. You're not having to sell systems. If you're moving over to Toughsystem, you might be thinking, oh goodness, I've got a big job now to sell all my old boxes, but that isn't the case. So as you can see, this DeWalt T-stack box clips on there, nice and solid, and if you've got all your existing boxes all organised, they're going to work. And by having it integrate With T-Stack, that gives you even more compatibility, because what is T-Stack? Well, if you didn't know, T-Stack is also Pro Stack. So, as I said, Stanley own DeWalt. Well, Stanley Black & Decker own a lot of people, but one of their other boxes is the Stanley FatMax Pro Stack, and they are the exact same box, rebadged. So, if you're considering getting the DXL system, but you're already kind of bought into Stanley Pro Stack, that also integrates. And the drawers are the exact same. You can see here, I've got a set of the Pro Stack drawers. If you don't know, they're the exact same as the DeWalt drawers. Our shadow foam inserts for these boxes are all the same. We've got them listed individually on the website just to help people avoid the confusion, but they all integrate. And if you're over in America and you're using Craftsman VersaStack, you may not have even been aware that you also slot into this ecosystem, because Craftsman is owned by DeWalt, Stanley Black & Decker, and they're the exact same box, but they just say Craftsman and VersaStack. So it's all a bit of an illusion, a bit of smoke and mirrors really, but I think it's only a benefit really that they're all cross-compatible. And if you've got a big Craftsman stack and you're looking at the DXLs, it all integrates for what? £25, little bit of plastic, and it all works together. So for me, number one, it's all compatible. You can buy this and you don't have to sell anything you've already got, because it all works together. So that was number 5 on the list. Let me show you my next favorite feature. So number 4 on the list is just how heavy duty this thing is. Now, they call it the Toughsystem. All of the other boxes are really rugged ABS, but this thing is like another level. So essentially, the whole thing is pretty hefty, to be honest, and we'll get into the weight of it and stuff later, but that alone is heavy. But the 2 handles on the side are really stout, solid handles. So already it's heavy, empty. But we'll talk about that later in the video when we start weighing these things and giving you some actual numbers, because I can't find any weights on any of this stuff. So we'll weigh it and we'll put some numbers next to these things. But the handles are great. You can just imagine 2 people carrying this, and it's nice and easy, one either side. It's manageable for 2 people, especially when it's full of tools. It's a 25 kg total payload, so it's like 12.5 kilos per drawer, but they do feel just really solid. They've got like a reinforced base in them, and the whole box is reinforced. Now you can't see the reinforcement. It's not very visible here, but they basically have steel rods inside, and it's easier to see it underneath this dolly. If I flip this over, you can see it's the same as the boxes. They have some steel rods that just literally come through here, just to make the whole thing more solid. The dolly itself is a 200 kg payload, so literally, although it says don't use it as a skateboard, you could. Well, you couldn't, you shouldn't. But the whole box has got the same vibe. The drawers are nice and solid. They've got a seal around the inside, so although they don't say they're IP rated, same as the Toughsystem boxes really, they don't say they're IP rated, but they're one of the only drawers on the market that when you close the drawer, you've actually got this rubber seal. And following along with that really rugged theme, the dolly has got some really nice solid wheels on. They're a full rubber tyre, which isn't too unusual, but they just feel far more solid than any other box that I've had. They're all swivel casters, all with lock-in mechanisms on them. And yeah, bit of a beast. I really do like the fact that these latches only have the one spring latch on the front. It just means that there's one less mechanism to go wrong. Sometimes, especially with this box being so heavy, you'd be a bit concerned of like bouncing it on the top and possibly breaking one of them. Whereas with this, there's less fear of that. You can engage the back clip and then just drop it slowly on the front one. That being said, they do clip together really easily. It's nice. They've got the classic Toughsystem 2 latch, so you pull it forwards and it stays forwards. And that is really important with this one because it's so heavy. If I had to try and hold that latch and try and remove the box, it would be a nightmare. But instead, you can just pull them forward, lift it off, slide it back, it's fixed. So number 4, they call it Toughsystem, and it is tough. It's hefty, it's a solid old bit of kit, and I've had a good look around it. There's no elements on this box that feel weak. It all feels nice and solid. The drawers are nice and solid, and there's no bit of it that feels like it's gonna break easily. It all feels nice and solid. So that's number 4. Let me show you number 3. And number 3 on the list follows on quite nicely because it is the fact that it connects so easily. Not just the Toughsystem standard drawers. These boxes are heavy, but they just connect nice and easily, and so does the top. And once you've got the top on, for me, I'm 6'2", and that is a really nice height. It just feels like you've got a much bigger than normal working area. You've got this little tray that dips down, so if you are putting like impact bits or drill bits or screws, you can have them below the working platform, so you're not scratching it up. It's got this handle on it, and once the top's on, it's just sturdy. It's not like jiggling around or anything. It feels properly fixed, so I really like that. There's lots of details in this box that show there's a lot of thought that went into it, a lot of attention to detail, which leads me on to number 2. So, attention to detail. Let me show you some of the things that I've picked up on. Starting on the top. So this worktop is really solid. It's again, all made in a single piece like ABS mold. It feels nice and solid on its own. Once it clips in, it doesn't move. You've got two cup holders here, and obviously they wanted to keep this thing really shallow for the box it comes in, but they added these cup holders. And on first inspection, you might think, well, a cup's going to just wobble out of that straight away. But actually, these lift up to give you like an extra inch of holder on your cups, basically, which I thought, nice little attention to detail. It shows that they've made it, used it a bit, and gone, flip, the cups keep falling out. So they've made that alteration, which I like. Now, another little detail that they've added, which I thought was nice, is the half boxes. This is your typical Toughsystem half box. They've got a lovely little mechanism for attaching these. Because they can't have a spring latch right in the middle, they have this little plate here. So the back engages, and then this little plate here clips back, meaning now that one is fixed in position. And then if you want another half box, this one then becomes like a fixed latch, similar to the one on the back. That one just pushes in, clips down, and literally you can have half boxes, full stacks. And obviously DeWalt have got a really great half box charging box. We've made a foam insert for that. We did a full video on that, you can go and check it out. They've also got a really nice lighting box, and it all would integrate with this. Doesn't matter what piece of the puzzle, if you've got the DeWalt Toughsystem radio, it will all work with this existing system. Lovely little detail that, and I just thought, you know, the half boxes have been overlooked in a few different systems, not so in this one. So you pull that forward, it lifts off. We're back to the thing. Talking to details, can you lock these drawers? Because some systems you can't lock, and it's been a bit of an oversight. You think, goodness, you've got this really expensive system, you've got really expensive tools in it, you can't leave it anywhere because you can't lock it up. Well, when I first got this, I hadn't done much research on it. I knew it was something special, so I bought one, but I hadn't really looked at the features. So this came as a bit of a surprise to me, and that is that the drawers all do have a locking mechanism, and it's basically this bar here, which you don't even notice. I didn't even notice it was there. It pulls down, swings into position, and what it then gives you is two locking points. Now, it's a little bit awkward how the padlock goes on there. I'll go and grab a padlock and I'll show you, which is a bit of a negative, because if you are piling this in a pickup or you're piling it in a van with other things around it, you're going to have this really weird brass padlock protrusion poking out. However, what you do end up with is two padlocks locking one drawer. And essentially, if you lock this drawer in place, you can end up having one lock, locking all three of the drawers. So great little novel system, and I just love the fact that most of the time, if it's in your workshop, you don't need it. And therefore, it's fully out of the way, you don't even notice it's there. Let me grab a padlock. So once dropping the bar down into place, you can kind of see now that these holes align. So we've got this bar and this bar. This bar I wouldn't necessarily have to lock both drawers at the same time. If I just push that through there now, it would lock, because it would stop that bar coming out. However, the system's designed in a way that if it's stacked up, you can lock two sets at once. So I'll move that bar into place. You then kind of have to just swoop the padlock round the corner and it goes through. This is just a standard, quite cheap brass padlock, and it's locked up. You've got that one's not going anywhere, that one's not going anywhere. You do have this lock. It's a very minor inconvenience, really, especially when you think about the dollies protruding as well. It'd kind of be nice if that was tucked out of the way. Maybe I could get a smaller padlock, to be fair. But what I do love is if you had two of the shallow boxes, that'd be 4 drawers with one lock, which no other system that I'm aware of can lock so many drawers with one key. A lot of them, you'd have to have like 3 or 4 key-to-like padlocks. This one, you're looking at, you drop this bar down, you put one other padlock there, and literally that one's double locked. This one and these two here then a single lock. So 2 padlocks are locking up the whole thing. So to me, I think that is a great feature that's had a lot of thought. Someone has really spent some time figuring out how do we put a nice solid locking system on this box that isn't too in the way and too inconvenient, because they all have to be standalone. A normal roll cab has a bar down the back and all the drawers lock at once, and obviously these have to be entirely standalone units. Now, another detail I really like is back to the drawers. Now, first thing to mention is they all have this kind of like grid system built in, and you do get a bunch of rails. You get a lot less rails than you get spaces for rails, if you see what I mean. So here we get 4 long ones and 6 short ones, and I'll just set one drawer up. You can make little quadrants and you can section off the drawers, but then you can't mirror them. Or maybe I didn't get enough dividers, but that's all of the dividers you get with the shallow drawer system. Now, let's be honest, if you're buying and you're spending all the money on this system, you're probably not using it to organise small parts, you're using it to organise your tools, which is where you don't have to have these at all. You can have a piece of shadow foam in there, get everything dialed in. You know how we do it, and we will be doing that later. Our inserts are already available and they slot straight in. But the thing that caught my eye on the images was, and we talked about compatibility earlier and how DeWalt have been thinking about how does this range, this DXL system, how does it work with all the other boxes? Well, these are the Toughsystem trays. If you've not seen these before, they have little tabs that fold up and they sit in the top of Toughsystem boxes to help you kind of organise and structure all your gear. We have foam inserts for these too, and you'll see that they slot in perfectly into the drawer. They're literally the exact right size. When they're in there, they don't move about at all. So I just think it's a great little bit of thought that they've made sure, even with all of the dividers and the little protrusions, these still fit in there. Now, I don't know who would use the trays in the drawer because there's so little clearance. Once they're in there, the drawer only just shuts. But where I do think that is going to be really useful maybe not in the shallow drawers, but in the deep drawers, the same applies, the trays fit. And obviously if you've got a shadow foam insert in the bottom, organising all your bigger tools, then you can have the tray sat on the top, which I just think is great planning from DeWalt's perspective. I just think the idea that you may have already bought into this range, you might already have a load of trays, you can still use them. But one area it's not quite working is the deep tray. Although it's great, doesn't quite fit. So there's just not enough depth to get that into the drawer. So it's a good thing, not perfect. Needs a little bit of adjustment. I reckon if I trimmed off a little bit of this support material, I probably would be able to get it in there. There's certainly no point having it in sideways, but you can see what they're doing. So last but no means least, when it comes to details and functionality and things I really like, all of these boxes have like a DIN rail, kind of what you'd call it. It's like a solid steel rail on the side. There's actually a sticker on this side, which tells you the payload capacity. So this rail on here can have items up to 10 centimeters off, up to 12.5 kilos. And essentially they've got a range. Now I wasn't able to find them yet, but maybe they're coming soon. But it showed like you can have an impact drill hanging off the side, but they are gonna have some totes that kind of clip on. And I just think having that built in, it's kind of standard now across toolbox ranges to have like accessory rails, but this is a really solid one, which is really flush. It's not kind of a protrusion. It kind of just looks like a bit of the aesthetic. But having it there is a great attention to detail for the future to make sure it's future-proof, which I really like. So that's all the details. I've probably missed some stuff, to be fair, because as you look around it, I'm still discovering little things, little kind of extra bits of thought that they've had to make sure this is a really good system. But that's pretty much it for the details. Let me show you my #1 favourite reason why I love this system. So the #1 feature is the feature you buy it for, and that is it's big drawers. But big drawers come in all shapes and sizes. I've looked at a lot of toolboxes, a lot of roll cabs, and one of the things that they quite often have is like a dead space at the back of the drawer. The drawer doesn't fully extend, but this has got full extension drawer slides, and you only lose a very, very small fraction of space at the back of the drawer. It fully comes out, which I think is a big plus. It would have been easy for them to fit not a full extension drawer and then have a higher payload, because that's sometimes how they'll do it. They'll make it so it doesn't come quite as far out, which means they can say, oh, you know, it holds 40 kilos rather than 25 kilos, but I think they've struck a really good balance here. They're really nice and solid. The drawer slides work really well. You can still remove the drawer. You can lift up that side, push down that side, pull the drawer entirely out, and that's classic. A lot of roll cabs will have that feature, and obviously a normal roll cab has metal trays. Well, this is plastic, but really solid. There's none of that kind of like wobbling of thin, cheap steel. It's a proper solid drawer with a seal around it. So I'm really impressed with it. I also like the fact that it's got a really positive engaged catch. Now, a lot of these drawer systems just kind of have pressure fit drawers, so you just push them in and they kind of like friction into place. Well, not this one. This has got a positive kind of latch mechanism on both sides. And even if I'm pulling it hard left or hard right, you can feel it's solid enough that nothing is twisting out of place. If I'm right over this side and pull it, they both go down. So all of that just gives me generally good vibes that this thing is going to last you. If it was twisting on this side and that wasn't quite going down, you know over time it's all going to bend, it's all going to go out of shape, and it's not going to work. But if it's rolling around, nothing's going to move until you lift that handle. So generally the drawers have really, really impressed me. When it comes to how much real estate there is to get things organised though, the drawers measure 645 millimeters across, or 25.5 inches just shy. And then depth, it's 467 millimeters deep, or 18.5 inches. And then depth wise, it's 58 mil. But there is a plate in the bottom you can lift out. Like I say, I've not lifted this out, but we'll include a clip. Bradshaw Joinery basically just levered this out. It's not stuck in, it's just kind of pressure fitted in there, and that tray lifts out, which gives you about 60 mil of depth, which is great because we have shadow foam inserts already available at shadowfoam.com in all different colours. So we've got 9 different colours of shadow foam, and even our thickest insert, 50 mil, slots in here perfectly, which you kind of knew that was going to be my favourite feature, didn't you? You've still got a nice bit of room above it. With that yellow tray, it's right to the surface, but with a shadow foam 50 mil insert, you've still got about 5 mil of clearance. So you can get everything organised in there, even deep tools, which I love. With the deep drawer, same again, but with this, we can have a 50 mil layer and then have some of these trays on top. And like I say, we have shadow foam inserts that slot directly in there, and it's just a nice way of getting loads of hand tools organised, heaps of hand tools, or even power tools, which is what we're going to come on to next. How many tools can you actually fit in this thing, and how heavy does it become when it's full of tools? So there are a couple of negatives to this system. I won't talk about those quite yet. We're going to go on to shadow foamability now. How much tools can you fit in this thing? So as you can see, I've already got the inserts. I'll get them on the table. and we'll do some layouts, see physically how many tools you can get in here, how many power tools you can get in the deep drawer, and then, yeah, get an idea of the weight, empty and full, and then we can talk about some of the negatives. Let me do a layout. Test of the shadow foam ability and how much you can fit on the drawers is actually doing a layout and fitting it all in. So I've gone for power tools first. I've got a 30mm and a 50mm layer, and that just means it's nice and easy to do these. It's even easier cutting shadow foam when you're doing it in layers, because I can cut all the way through the 50mm one and then literally just glue the two sheets together. So there's a bit of a top tip when it comes to gluing foam together. I'll show you that when I get to that stage. But for now, I'll show you how to cut the foam. And all you need is everything that comes in the basic cutting kits. Now, basic cutting kit comes free with most orders at shadowfoam.com, and it's got everything you need in it to cut and shape your liner to exactly how you want it. So whatever tools you went for and whatever layout you decide on, you can create a liner to organise them perfectly, and that is perfect for drawers like this. You don't want things just bouncing around in there. And look, already I can see this is fitting a lot of stuff. I've got a full-size jigsaw, I've got their brushless hammer drill, impactor, combi drill, little torch, multi-tool, and there's still a bit of breathing room, to be fair. So I'll cut one of these in real time so you can see how it works, and then we'll blitz through it in high-speed time-lapse so you can see the finished result, and we'll do some hand tools too. So that way, you'll get a real feel for how many tools you can fit in this DXL setup and how good it looks. And yeah, how quick it is with shadow foam too. All you need is a scalpel with a fresh blade, then you just place an item where you want it to go. So we'll start with this combi drill here, and then literally we just trace cut around the item, and we're just capturing the silhouette. We're not worried about cutting very deep at this point. We're just using the scalpel like a pencil, and we're just cutting around, nice and simple, just holding that scalpel hard up against the drill to capture the exact like template silhouette. You know, you can get all the detail, but you can also just like skim around some of the detail if you want to. We're just getting as close to the silhouette as we can. Once we've gone all the way around and we've met back up at the start, you can then move the item out of the way. And if you've done it right, you shouldn't really be able to tell where you've cut, but if you press down on the foam, you'll see the cut you've made. And then we go back around and we just make that cut deeper. Now, we could at this point just peel back the layers, and I will show you how that works. But because I've got a 50mm and a 30mm here, and the drill is pretty much 50mm, I will just cut all the way through for this drill. But just to give you an idea of how it works, I will peel out the top layer, and then you'll see how easy it is. So there we go. I've cut all the way around there now. I've cut like 25mm deep, something like that. So to peel it out, you just push your finger down one end, find a bit of a seam, and then pull it towards you, and then just use all your fingers to just literally chase that peel along. And it's as simple as that. That's how you peel it out, but obviously for this one, we're going to cut all the way through. So I don't want to damage my 30mm piece underneath, so I'm going to just put it so it's kind of floating in free space there. And then I'm just going to cut all the way around again and just go all the way through. And once I've cut all the way through, I can just push that piece out, and there we go. It fits the drill perfectly. And you'd never even know that I've not peeled it, because all of our inserts, so this is a DXL insert as they come, they're all symmetrical in one direction or another. All of our inserts will be symmetrical in one direction, and that means that they're reversible. You can have the bright colour face up, and you can literally cut around items and peel them out the exact same way and end up with a different look. Now for this one though, I'll flip it upside down, stick it underneath, and when I come to glue these together, it literally looks like I've just peeled it out perfectly. So there you go, that's the first tool done. Organised perfectly, and if it's missing, you can immediately tell it's the combi drill that's missing, which is great. I'll use that exact same technique for all the other items, but I'll do that in high speed. So let me crack on. There we go, that's the first drawer done, and it's pretty good. That is a lot of tools in a drawer, I reckon. The thing with a bigger drawer is you can work the space a lot better. When you've got like a Toughsystem drawer, you've kind of got quite a narrow slot, so you're limited to what you can put in there. But with the height of this drawer, or rather with the depth of this drawer and with the width and the amount of space, you can really jam a lot in. I'm pretty sure I could have fit more in there, but that's pretty good. Hammer drill, combi drill, impact drill, multi-tool, torch, jigsaw, it's a lot of stuff. And to be fair, I reckon I could fit any other power tools that I needed could go in there easily. And then obviously I've got these two hand tools, which I'll be moving on to next. Now when it comes to cutting a drawer like this, the way that I did this was cut all the way through, as you saw. And basically what I do is I just save all the cutouts, and then when I finish cutting it all, I push them all back in like a bit of a jigsaw, and then when I spray glue the back, it basically acts like masking. I don't get any overspray into the gaps. And then once I've sprayed all of the back, I can push them all out, and it means I end up with spray glue right up to the edges. Let it go tacky, put the two together, and that's literally one of the easiest inserts you can do. It looks like the most complicated insert, but actually doing power tools, it's a fair bit of time to just go nice and steadily around and get the profiles. Once you've done that, you're just cutting all the way through, gluing two pieces together. We sell these in twin packs, so with 2 packs of 50mm, 2 packs of 30mm, you could do 2 deep drawers, and you know, in a few hours and not much money, you can get all your tools dialed in like that, which is mint. Now, next challenge, let's do a hand tool drawer. And for that, I've got an exciting bit of news.
We interrupt this program to bring you exciting news.
Cast your minds back to Europe's biggest hardware show, where I went hunting around for quirky tools, and I found this brand, Magnum. It's a Finnish brand. They had some cool tools, namely the compact tape measure, which is tiny little, look at this. This is a 5 meter tape measure, and it's absolutely tiny in its form factor, but it's still a full width tape, really solid. They also had their easy grips, which are essentially like a pair of Cobra grips, but they click into place. They ratchet down, so you don't have to like find the right width. They literally, you just put it on a fit in, squeeze it until it grabs. Now those tools weren't available. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know I'm always on the hunt for quirky tools. Now, if they're available, I'll usually put the link below the video, and we can all kind of enjoy the novel, quirky, or cool, interesting tools that I find, and people go out and buy them all the time. But sometimes they're not available anywhere. People are asking in the comments, where can I get them? And I don't really have the answers. There's nowhere I can point them at. Magnum was one of those brands that got a lot of emails from a lot of different viewers asking, where can I buy these? Where can I buy these? So Magnum actually reached out to us and they said, look, we don't have a supplier in the UK. Do you want to be the supplier? And although we're focusing on shadow foam, and that's our main thing, getting tools organised, I do want to try and solve a problem of our own making, which is bringing quirky tools to you and making them available. So, with all that in mind, we've created top-notch tools, and there's a link in the description. It's a brand new website with all of the quirky, interesting tools that I rate and I like that aren't available. So we want to bring them to you, make them available. Now, Magnum is the very first brand that's going to be on there, and as and when I find cool stuff, we'll be adding new tools all the time. But Magnum, we've not added their entire range, we've added the ones I liked, which is the easy grips. We've got 300mm, 250mm and 180mm. We've got the compact tape measures, 10, 8 and 5. They're really good value, and we've got some great bundles set up. And the other benefit is, because the hand tool brand want the promotion, they've given me really good prices, which I can pass on to you. And they've hooked us up with a load of freebies. I think they've seen the channel, they know how we work with our freebies. So I got 2 free boxes of these, that's 100 of these little mini knives, and a whole ruck of the Magnum sweets. You probably remember me getting these in a little goodie bag from the booth, and I was wondering, what are they? The impact bits? But they're actually gummy bears and really tasty ones. So, all that being said, if you want some of these Magnum tools, you can go to Top Notch Tools. The first 100 orders of any of these Magnum tools will get a little mini knife and a packet of sweets, which is like a giveaway that everyone gets, which is great. If you want these tools and you've been waiting for them, we've had a lot of emails asking me when they're going to be available or if I'm bringing them here. So the first 100 orders will get a little mini knife and some sweets free. We've got loads of different bundles, so you can get the 2 tapes, 10 meter and 5 meter. You can get the 2 tapes and this, the 250mm. That's a nice little bundle, which is basically the best 3 bits really, because it's the 2 compacts that you're going to want to use, and then kind of the middle pair of grips, which is really great. Now, if you decide you want everything, we've got a lovely bundle where it's all 3 of these plus the 2 tapes, and you get a free knife. They chucked us a few of these knives. We don't have very many, but it's a really smart Magnum utility knife. It's not titanium, but it looks like that material. It's like, when I saw it online and I saw they were sending me a few, I thought that is brilliant. So if you buy the little bundle there, you'll get a free knife too. And we've got some discounts on the bundles too. So it's a bit of a winner-winner. I thought it was going to make everyone happy who's been asking for Magnum tools. We've now got them available, and they're really good price. Click the link below if you're interested. But with all that being said, let me show you how we're going to organise them in that drawer. And I don't think all these tools will quite fill the drawer, so we probably will add some DeWalt. But essentially, we can have the grips, we can have the tapes, we can have the knife, put all of these out the way. And give me a second, I'll put a layout together, fill in the rest up with some DeWalt stuff. Right, so we've got a bit of a layout going. We've got all the Magnum stuff, plus some DeWalt screwdrivers, pliers, We've got a hammer, multi-tool, and then you might notice these. Quirky DeWalt tool. I couldn't find these when I did my DeWalt hand tool panel, and then I picked them up in America, along with a couple of other DeWalt quirky things we don't have in the UK. But when I was at that Europe's biggest hardware show, they're pretty much putting DeWalt badges on loads of stuff now, not just tools. They've got quite a few gadgets now. They've got some headphones, some AirPods, a couple of different versions. They've got some speakers that go around your neck, some speakers that clip on, all kinds of cool stuff. And if you're interested, we could get hold of those quirky DeWalt bits, do a bit of a review, bit of a roundup, all the things you didn't know existed. But you've got to let me know in the comments. If you want to see me do that, let me know, because I don't mind bringing all those pieces together and figuring out what don't we have, what we're missing. Are there any other quirky DeWalt tools out there that maybe aren't on general sale yet, or they are, but they're just hard to find? Because I'll hunt them all down and we'll put a video together. But let me know in the comments below. And yeah, let's get into cutting. So same technique as the power tool panel, but for this one, I am just peeling and I'm not cutting all the way through. So let's get into it. There we go, that is the hand tools all sorted. The more I've been looking at these drawers, the more I'm really pleased with them. I've basically disregarded any sort of access when I've cut the foam layout, and you can get right to the back to pull out the hammer, to pull out the screwdrivers. You can utilize the full drawer, and obviously I could even cram more tools now. I've gone for a bit of a nice layout, overriding good positive feedback about these. A couple of drawbacks we'll get into in a second, but I'll also show you another thing. While I was cutting all that foam, I had one of my guys cut me an insert for this tray, purely because it's one of the most satisfying inserts we have. These inserts slot in here like an absolute glove. They perfectly fit. We've got them in the different sizes, different colors, as you can see, they go in there. So it's a nice bit of real estate for cutting and organizing tools. We actually did a load of these trays in a previous video. I used one for batteries and a charger, and we did one for some other bulky items, and obviously they slot into these drawers too. So that's the trays, that is the foam, that is the shadow foam ability, all tested, and that is a 10 out of 10 for me. I think these are one of my favorite inserts. They slot in there really nice. They're available now at shadowfoam.com. So all we've got to talk about now is the negatives. What are the drawbacks of this system? Now, there's not very many, but it starts with the sheer heft of this system. Now, if you go online and you search DeWalt DXL weights, it'll just bring you up information about the payload. It'll say, you know, the lid here, this worktop has got 40 kilos. So the worktop can take 40 kilos. The drawers can take 12.5 kilos for the small drawers, 25 kilos for the big drawers, but nowhere does it talk about the actual weight. Now, they're heavy when they're empty, so they're really heavy when they're loaded. Now, that being said, as we talked about earlier, they do have these lovely handles, so it can be quite an easy two-man lift. But I don't know about you, I'm quite often on my own doing jobs. I've not really got a spare person. I'm not going to ask the customer, come and help me carry my toolbox in the house. So obviously this toolbox, it's a great example of the phrase horses for courses. One of my favourites. Let me know. If you're in Britain, you probably know horses for courses. But if you don't know, it means that certain horses race better on certain racetracks. And this horse is not for most building sites. I do wonder what course this horse is set up for racing on, because it's a heavy old beast. But let's put a number on it. I've got a scale here. We're going to weigh all of the different pieces and we'll be able to put a weight on them, which is great. And we've got a full blog on our website and we'll put these weights there. And that way, if you do Google it in the future, you'll find the physical weights of these things, which should help everybody make the decision whether it's for them. But yeah, let's weigh them. Right, so I've weighed all the individual bits and then added it all together. Shallow drawers come in at 20 kilos exactly on the button, which is mental. Feels like it's another element of attention to detail from DeWalt. They've thought 20 kgs, that's the maximum manual handling limit in the UK. So they've made sure not to go over that, so the empty box can safely be basically transported. But obviously, as soon as you put tools in it, it goes over that. Then we've got the deep drawer, which is 15.35 kgs. We've got two of those. We've got the dolly, which is 12.1 kg, and then the worktop is 2.65. So we'll put all those weights in pounds, but total, it comes to 65.45 kg. So 65.5 kilos for this whole stack, which is 144 pounds. So it's far too heavy for one person to safely lift it in and out of a van. It's a two-man lift, easy, but the whole point of it is to break it into individual elements, isn't it, to move it about? It's a big old beastie thing, and the width of it, up here, up top, it's 55 centimetres, so it's 54.5, but with a little bit of overhang on the front and a little bit of overhang on the back, it's around about 55 centimetres, which is 21 3/4 inches. So that will go through most standard doorways, but you've got to remember, you've got this dolly, and you can see the dolly overhangs by, it's about 2.5 inches. So it's making it 5 inches wider, which when you're thinking about the mobility of a toolbox, that is going to make a difference. So we've got 5 inches extra. So the total width of this thing is 66 centimeters or 26 inches. And front to back with the handle, we're talking 34 inches, well, 33.5 inches, 85 centimeters. So it's a pretty stonking bit of kit, this thing. The mobility of it is pretty good though, because all 4 wheels are swivel. So it is easy to move it around, even though it's pretty massive. So it's kind of a niggle, but you are buying the DXL. It's called XL for a reason, it's massive. But it's worth noting, and the height of it, for anyone wondering, is 99 centimeters exactly, or 39 inches. The top on its own is £84, which comes in at about $109. That's of today's conversion, obviously that's always changing. The double drawer is £252, and that's $326. Deep drawer is £240, and obviously we've got 2 of those. And then the dolly is £168. Even the dolly on its own at £168 is a big price for something like that, which it comes in at $218. The full stack, as you see it here, is £984 in the UK, or $1,275. That is including our 20% UK tax. So if you're a business, you can claim that back. Now, I got a little bit of a discount from CTS, and if you go to Google and search it, you'll see there's a couple of deals, but because it's so new, there's not very much wiggle room. I only got a very small discount on this, but thank you to CTS for keeping one to one side for me. Now, these are sold out in most places at the moment, but if you look around, you can get some deals. It's an expensive bit of kit, and realistically, if you want this and it's always going to be in your workshop, there are much cheaper roll cab alternatives, which have like 5, 6, 7, 8 drawers, same exact dimensions, and they'll cost you £400, £500 maximum. With this thing, you've got 4 drawers, so less space, but you can break it down and transport it. So if you do need a system you can break down and transport, this could be it. But it's still quite expensive. There are cheaper versions. I do love the fact it integrates with all the Toughsystem range, and I love the fact it integrates with all of the DeWalt ecosystem, all the boxes, all the different sub-brands that they own. They all connect into this, which is fantastic. It just means that if you've already bought into those systems, you're not having to sell them on or change or anything like that. So great system. I like it. What I want to know is who's going to buy it? Who's going to use it? What is the application? What is the course for this horse? Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you going to buy one? What drew you to buy one of these? Because it's really new and it's the start of a conversation. Who wants one of these? Let me know in the comments below. Join the conversation and you'll be entered into the giveaway for the t-shirt, for the bit set, for the pencils. Really simple. We do a draw in a few weeks in a video. We'll do a little prize draw. We pick randomly. We'll contact you, get your address, and then send them out to you. So it's as simple as that. Don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe too. Thanks very much for watching. That is the DeWalt DXL, and that's all my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next one.